It's pretty common knowledge that cartoons don't suddenly get made overnight. There's a lot more to a simple cartoon's production than you may think. You have to pitch the show to network executives, create concept art, create the show's world, set up rules, make a show bible, and of course, create a pilot. It's common for pilots themselves to be what creators use to pitch the show. Of course, due to pilots being pitched to specifically network executives, they often don't see a public release, leading to many pilots either being lost in the sands of time or being owned exclusively by the network or studio. So today, we'll be checking out 5 different cartoon pilots that either aren't available in full, only have incomplete versions available, or are simply lost, or to be seen by the public's eyes. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, or AOSTH for short, was a 1993 Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, as is notable for being the first proper Sonic cartoon and a popular meme online. In 1992, the pilot for the show was made, featuring a few differences, mainly different voice actors and much better animation.
Sonic the Hedgehog!
$5,000? What a tightwad! It'll take more zeros to catch these heroes, eh, Tails?
That's right! The first one who captures the sneaky pest can name his own reward! Hooray! Hooray! I want that hedgehog!
This is due to the pilot being animated in-house in America instead of being outsourced, resulting in the pilot's animation being noticeably higher quality than the final show, which is ironic considering pilots are usually rougher than the final show. However, unlike the show that preceded Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the pilot wasn't officially released. Before March 2009, the only bits of it officially released to the public were in a few commercials, the episode Untouchable Sonic where Scratch and Grounder watch a clean rip of a short scene from the pilot, and most notably, in the end credits for the final show. In March 2009, a rip of it was released on the internet by Devariano, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, with the permission of Milton Knight, who worked on the show. However, it's noticeably not a high-quality rip, as it is very low quality, lacks music and sound effect, and has a time code in the top left. While evidence of a complete version does exist, it hasn't been released, and it's unknown if it'll ever see the light of day. Hopefully, we'll find it someday. Thomas the Tank Engine is notable for technically having 3 pilots, 2 of which were from earlier failed attempts at a TV adaptation of the Railway series. Arguably the most well-known of these is the 1983 pilot for what would soon become the massively famous Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Sometime in 1979, Britt Allcroft acquired the rights to make a TV series based on the works of Wilbert Awdry, and spent the next 2 years meeting animators and watching test reels to see what type of animation would be best suited for the show. It was then that she met David Mitton, who specialized in stop motion, so it was decided that live-action model animation would be used, similar to the currently lost 1953 version of The Sad Story of Henry. A low-budget test pilot was made after the team got a commitment from ITV, and it was pitched to various networks around April 3rd, 1983. Strangely, this pilot was based on the story Down the Mine, specifically. Down the Mine wasn't a very notable story, but due to its simplistic qualities, I guess it sort of makes sense that they went with it. After the show was greenlit, Down the Mine would go on to be the 25th episode of the show's first season, with a much more refined look. However, the final episode features some recycled footage from the pilot, most notably a shot where Thomas's early model passes by a station. From what can be seen of the model, he has less detailed wheels, unpainted splashers, less detail on the running board, a different face, and general less detail throughout the model. Pictures of the Gordon model used also exist, with him having a different face and lower front buffer beam. This pilot is also what gave Rick Sigelkow, sorry if I butchered that, the idea to make Shining Time Station, the show that had American dubs of the classic Thomas episodes. After he was handed the pilot and showed it to his wife in a preschool, the gaining positive reception, However, he is no longer in the possession of the pilot, since he handed all his TTPE and Shining Time master tapes to Mattel, current owner of Thomas, so it's likely that Mattel currently owns the pilot. Aside of recycled footage and supposed storyboards, very little of the pilot has been seen by the public, and it will likely remain that way, as Mattel has heavily distanced the Thomas brand from the original model series. It is a pretty tragic case of lost media, as the pilot is what launched arguably the most popular British children's series to date. Maybe we'll find it someday. The Owl House is an incredibly popular 2020 Disney television cartoon created by Dan and Harris. As per usual with pilots, the pilot of The Owl House was made a few years before the final show actually premiered. Only a few screenshots, clips, and supposed storyboard images have surfaced online. In some of the show's available concept art depicts character designs similar to the one seen in the pilot. The animation style is more or less identical. The character, Ida, specifically looks pretty much exactly the same as her counterpart. Luz and King have mostly the same character designs, but Luz has an entirely different shirt pattern and hair color. Meanwhile, King has an entirely different color palette. The pilot episode for Amphibia has been released, and Disney certainly knows the Owl House is popular, so it might get released someday. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Family Guy is an incredibly popular adult quote-unquote comedy show made by Seth MacFarlane. Interestingly, Seth's work on Family Guy dates back with the creation of The Life of Larry. The short contained various notable similarities to what would soon become Family Guy. The 1996 short, Larry and Steve, also contained some elements that would be recycled from Family Guy. After failing to get Larry and Steve picked up with said 1996 short, Seth would go on to make the 1998 pilot for Family Guy after getting the funding from Fox. The pilot would later serve as the basis for the first episode of the show, Death Has a Shadow. Interestingly, the episode Back to the Pilot depicts Stewie and Brian going back to Death Has a Shadow, not the actual pilot. This is obvious just by comparing the episode to what's available of the plot. Speaking of that, only 7 minutes of the pilot are available, with it ending with a coming soon bumper. It's likely that the rest of the pilot does indeed exist, as low-quality stills and a few snippets of extra footage have made their way onto the internet. It's unknown if Fox will ever release the full pilot. I hope they do, because I fucking love Family Guy. Pilots are truly a fascinating part of the show's development, and it's a shame they don't often get released. Hopefully, more pilots get released or leaked for all to enjoy. We'll find that Family Guy pilot someday, I'm sure of it. Remember to like and subscribe to feed my ever-growing ego, and maybe share this video with your friends so people actually watch this. Thanks for watching, and have a good rest of your day.